water, earth, fire, air. These 4 words were the start of a very amazing and carefully crafted show. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be ranting about Avatar the Last Airbender after binging the whole series a few days ago on Netflix.
Woke up at 11 o'clock, I ain't got no job, what the hell should I do today?
So recently, since Avatar the Last Airbender was added to Netflix in preparation for the live action series that should be coming sometime in the near future, it has gotten a lot of views and people have rediscovered it, people have discovered it for the first time. You know, this is not really a formal video, but I just wanted to make a video talking about my experience rewatching the series and my experience when it was originally coming on Nickelodeon. When it was coming on Nickelodeon was a channel that was my secondary kids channel that I used to watch, Disney being the one that I watched the most. But on Nick, when Airbender was coming out, it was a little bit after the show had already premiered and it was already maybe in its 3rd season by the time I started really watching the show. And so the most times where I would find the show would be on Teen Nick or Toon Nick, I think. Nicktoons, I don't know. So that's where I usually would watch the show for the most part. And the show would come on and it came in linear order for the most part. It would come in 2 to 4 episodes every day. And so you would see the first 4 episodes of the first season. The next day would be the next 4 episodes and so on. But usually for me, since I would always forget about it since it came on one of the secondary Nick channels, I would always forget about it, so I would never fully watch the entire season. So I'd watch the first 4 episodes and I remember those really well, then I wouldn't watch the next 4 episodes because I forgot about it. So I might watch the 5th episode halfway through, or I would get to the 8th episode and I'd only watch the very end because that's when I remembered it was coming on television. And so my memory of the show was very scattered. I didn't even really remember the plot of the show a bunch. So when it eventually came on Netflix, I knew it would, because I knew about the live action show for about a year now. So I was they're gonna add it eventually to Netflix, since it's already on Netflix in different countries, but in the US it wasn't, and I don't have a VPN, so I couldn't watch it. I didn't really want to buy a VPN either. So it came on, I instantly knew I was going to binge the whole series because I had never really fully watched all the series. And let me tell you, it's a show so much better than I even remember. Experiencing the show was so much different, knowing the plot and seeing where the plot goes, and the really great story writing in it shows, because there's things in season 1. People say season 1, the first half of season 1 is probably the weakest part of the show. I say differently just because season 1 sets up a lot of character growth to be seen later down the road in seasons 2 or 3 or even at the end part of season 1. And so keep in mind, I'm gonna go all spoilers out, so if you haven't seen the show, oh my gosh, it's on Netflix. Watch it, get someone's password, and watch it if you don't want to pay for Netflix. Or just use a 7-day subscription. I watched this thing in 3 days. You got nothing to do, most likely. Watch the show. So some of the character arcs I'm gonna talk about, Katara's. At the very beginning, you see her really not knowing how to do too many waterbending moves, her really struggling, and then by the end she is so good. Even throughout the whole series, sprinkling little moments where you can see her getting better, and it's just so good and so satisfying. So when it comes to the end, most shows would come to the end, they would want a character to have growth, but they really wouldn't be able to show it right. When it gets to the end and she's so good, even before she gets the master through Paku, and she's already battling him, and she's holding her own for the most part. She still gets whooped in some ways, but she's holding her own. It doesn't seem like it comes out of nowhere. You're oh yeah, I've seen her. She's been practicing, she's been getting much better throughout the whole show, so now it makes sense for her to be at least semi-decent compared to a master waterbender. Talk about episode 3 of season 1.
Boy!
A whole bunch of genocide in a kid's show. Let's talk about that, because that's insane. They actually showed it. Most shows would probably go they would probably allude to the fact that that is what happened, but they wouldn't actually show it, especially for a kid's animation. And I don't want to call it a cartoon, because despite the fact that it is, I don't look at it as a cartoon. Some people call it an anime, but I don't call it an anime, I call it an animation. We're talking about character arcs, Sokka, and how he's so against water bending or bending in general. He thinks it's nonsense, or that I can't really explain it, so it doesn't really make sense in my world. And how he's kind of sexist and stuff in the first season, and how you see that coming full circle by the end of even just season 1, or actually episode 4, where he meets the Kyoshi warriors, and he realizes that like strength can come in lots of different shapes and sizes, and women can also be strong and warriors. Like that's also a really good story beat. But I really wanted to talk about like Zuko. Like I know everybody talks about Zuko because he is such a great character that it's insane. Like in a show for younger people, like I would say it's not really a kid show, but it is a family show. Like anybody can watch the show and very much enjoy it. But like Zuko's character arc throughout all 3 seasons is insane. Even like the symbolism in his hair, as I was watching it, it's like I was thinking about it and I was like, his hair being such a big part of him. At first it's like in a long ponytail, like him trying to hold on to the Fire Nation, because like later in like season 3 I think they explain like the phoenix tail or whatever is like a traditional Fire Nation the way you would do your hair. I'm not gonna get super deep with this, but like him like holding onto the ponytail even though like most of his hair is gone, whether it was burned off or whether he cut it off himself, him holding onto the ponytail trying to like hold on to a little bit of the Fire Nation is interesting. In season 2 when he cuts it off and he's like cutting all ties to the Fire Nation, even though deep down he still kind of wants to be recognized by his father and by the nation that he is a good person. And then as his hair grows back, it's like showing how he's very slowly becoming a better person, and he's letting himself be free from the Fire Nation. And then like even season 3 when he actually goes back and he has his hair up, it's not completely neat is what I noticed, because like a little bit of it's down in the front and it's like a little bit of his real self is showing in a way. Like not to get too deep with that, but like the way it went from like him wanting his honor to at the end him regaining his own honor is really like, it's really beautiful. It's also like a great message for people, I think. And speaking of character arcs, we're also going to talk about a little bit about Aang and how like him and Zuko are like very much entwined with each other, is the word. But like even on his own, like how he starts off as this like really young, naive, kind of like I want to do everything kid, to at the end becoming essentially a man. Like when he's like fighting Fire Lord Ozai, like it's just so good in the way it was made out. It's just everything about the whole last 4 episodes of the show is amazing, and that's why I wanted to make this video, because especially the whole series was really great, but the ending made it really worth it. So a lot of shows, when they get to the last episode or episodes, kind of can fall flat in the way they end the character arc story, how they end the plot. But I would say like Avatar was like pretty satisfying with the ending. Almost everything got fleshed out in some way. The only person I would say who really didn't get much of a fleshing out, or like they didn't get much at the end, would be Toph, I would say, because you don't really know too much about what happens with her and her parents. She's the only one who I'd be like, yeah, when they make this live action show, like I'm here for like that getting more fleshed out. It was just like she's like the one character that didn't get too much like in-depth character building, but I still like her. She's still a great character, like don't get me wrong. Speaking of her parents, like this is a side note, but like did anybody in episode 6 of season 2 when her dad's like, she's so small, like I'm like, this man is she's like right there, she's blind, not fucking deaf, just roasted the shit out of her. It's just it's so funny. Anyways, I had to talk about that because it's so funny. Like Zuko and Azula, which by the way, really great antagonist to plot. She really holds her own. I think she's a great character to think about or study, because she's just so complex and has so many different parts and aspects about her character that you could talk about, like how she was raised, how she thinks her mother feels about her, how she feels about her mother, how she feels about Zuko is very interesting. The fights in the choreography of the fights in like the last 4 episodes, boy, what? I'm sorry, those were like too good for this world, because there were such good fights. I could talk about the big fights, but even like the smaller fights are still fucking like animated really great, and then like just have a lot of weight to them. Like you feel what the characters feel. Like I'm gonna get into the big fights in a second, but like even like the fight with Sokka, Suki and Toph, like the whole like Toph metal bending with a suit of armor and then like taking the men out, like dude, that like I rewatched that scene, I was just like, that is literally insane. That was so good. And then Sokka thinking, okay, we gotta fucking tank these fucking ships, so we're gonna just drive straight into them. Like that was so cool. And then like them climbing up the ladder and that whole action piece was really good. And then like it broke my heart when I rewatched it again. Like when like he's like holding on to Toph, like he's like on the edge of the balloon. I don't know what it was called, but you know, he's laying down, his leg's broken, and he's holding on to Toph, and it's just like it's so good because I'm like almost crying every time I see that scene. I'm like, that scene hurts me because it's so good the way they did it. It's like it holds a lot of weight for the characters, and you can see it and you can feel it because it's like, you know, Toph can't really bend or anything because of the fact that like she can't feel anything when her feet's not on the ground, and so like the whole thing of like don't drop her and like everything's happening, and then like he takes out his boomerang and like he does it. That's so good. And then like that's just and then Suki comes in and saves him, and it's just so good. I love that like scene because it's just so amazing. Iroh and the Lotus members are like taking over Ba Sing Se again. That scene was really good. Zhang, right? Like him doing like that fire, the wall of fire, like pushing those like tanks back. Piandao, like when like Paku like does like the waterfall and he turns his eyes, and Piandao like taking out all those people. Like that was really great too. And even the scene right before they start fighting, when Iroh's like feeling the power of the comet, and you like the fire around them, like standing on like a rock, is like just like that's so great. And then Boomy, oh my fucking god. Oh my god, that was insane. Now to Zuko and Azula. That fight, Lord Jesus Christ. It's so beautiful. Again, almost moved to tears because it's so good. The whole blue fire versus red fire. It's a kind of cliche for like blue and red to be in movies or TV shows because they complement each other so well that like you want to see them in the same scene. But it's like the colors they chose, because it is animation and they can choose the colors. The colors of the red and the blue that they chose are so beautiful. Like it just works really well with the characters, and like the direction they chose to take the scene with like no sound other than the fire is really great. The way the certain scenes are like shot with the virtual camera, I guess, like it's just so good. It just shows like the growth of Zuko as well. The whole thing is like he's not moving, he's standing his ground, and Azula is the one who's really like pushing him forward, but he's still standing straight. And then Katara out of nowhere just standing right there, and Azula, bitch move, tries to shoot lightning at her, and Zuko saves her. Because like for a second you think it goes to his heart and you're like, but then you're like, he's fine. Like, he's gonna be good. That shit was great. And then moving forward to Katara and Azula, I'm gonna specifically talk about the last, like, minute or so of the fight. Dude, that shit, boy, like, I have no words for that. Because that was just freaking amazing. Like, again, like I said, like, the character arc of her being, like, very unused to her bending, not really know how to do it, to doing what she did to Azula in the last minute of that fight, my god. She turns everything around them into ice, including her and Azula, and then she, like, unfreezes it around her and gets the chain. That shit is insane. The way they shot that, I couldn't believe that shit when I saw it. Like, I'm not even lying when I say that. It was so good. The last major fight that I'm gonna talk about is Aang with Ozai. People who watch the show, you know, the whole build-up of, will I kill him? Should I kill him? It goes against my own morals. I shouldn't kill him because at the end of the day, he is a person too. And even further than that, I don't want to live with the regret and guilt of knowing that I killed a person. Is probably what was on his mind. The whole fight was really great, especially when he was in Avatar state and he like controlled all the elements into like a globe or like a planet, I don't know what to call it. That was really great. I loved how the scene began and ended. Like, I love that scene so much. And then like the part where he takes Ozai's bending away, that whole scene. But let me be, they like really tried it with us. They were like, oh, is he gonna lose? Ooh. I'm like, boy, there's no way. But like, it was funny. So every time I see it, I'm just like, that's so funny that they thought they could trick us like that. Like, I get it, but like really dramatic, I guess, whatever. But like the whole scene is like just straight up animated really great. And then like I said, the fight choreography, I don't know how to say that word, I'm sorry about that. Choreography. What they chose to do is really great. And then the scene right before he takes the spinning away, where it's like when it's just going around the rock, that's really cool. So I've talked about some of the great character moments and some of the great fight scenes, but like one of the things that I'm going to talk about really, not briefly, but like kind of just talk about a little bit is the relationships. About the show. And we're not talking about just about, shipping relationships and shipping wars, which I'll talk about in a second. Not just about like who ends up with who or anything like that. Relationships between like Sokka and Katara as like brother and sister. That's really, I think, it's not super like the forefront of the show, but I think it is really great because you kind of see them have a kind of a bit of a strained relationship at the beginning because like their dad's gone off to war, their mom is dead, so it's kind of like Sokka's trying to be leader to them being like more closer at the end. It's not like a super forefront relationship, but it is something that's really nice, and I think that adds on to the characters a lot. The other relationship that is non-shipping, I guess, would be Zuko and Iroh. Okay, who are you kidding? If you watch the show, you got to like, I think it's episode 2, like episode 2, the finale, the 4-part finale, and you got to the episode and you didn't cry like a bitch when Zuko is like, I'm so sorry, and then like I was like, you have nothing to be sorry for, I love you. I'm like, I want to cry again. Like, geez, you shouldn't do it to me. Like, that's not something, you don't fuck with my emotions like that. That hurt. Like, that felt good and hurt at the same time. That was like too much for me. Like, let's be honest. Give me a second. But that whole scene was just so nice too, like especially when like it first starts and Zuko goes in, or like even before that actually, when like Zuko's sitting outside the tent, he's like, I don't know if I can do it, like I've done so much, like I betrayed him, and like Katara's like, I think he'll love you no matter what, just go and talk to him. And then he goes inside the tent and like Iroh's sleeping and he just sits there and he waits. That's just a sign of respect and just so sweet at the same time that it makes the scene so much holds even more weight, because it's just like, I will wait for you. It's just like, that's so cute. Like I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but it's not super forefront, I guess, would be the relationship between Azula and Zuko. Like even though it's like a strained relationship, and like you gotta keep in mind they're like in their teens, like mid to late teens, things can change, I guess, and they, in some weird way, they do love each other. They are family at the end of the day, but like it's not as unconditional, or I don't know the word for it, but like it's not as obvious a love, but in some weird way they do have affection. Like, that sounds weird, but they do have some kind of like family bond there, like even though it might not seem like it. It's just like something I just want to talk about. But now, what you've been waiting for, I know you've been waiting for it a lot, but the shipping. Now, do I have to say a lot about the shipping? Okay, we're going to talk about Sokka first real quick, because I know what I'm about to get into after this is going to be kind of controversial. Sokka and Yue in the first season's relationship was really great because it was just like so cute. It's like first love kind of thing. And then like, Yue essentially dies and becomes the moon spirit. And I like how he doesn't like completely just let it go either. It's kind of like, oh, okay, she's gone. Like you can see even in the third season in like episode 17, Ember Island Players, like you can see like it still kind of affects him, and that's something he's gonna be holding on for a long time. I like how they don't like kind of run over that and they go say, oh yeah, he's over it now. It's like, yeah, no, it still kind of hurts, but like he is getting better, even though he at the end of the show is with Suki. And then him and Suki's relationship, season 3 episode 16, him and Suki. Okay, let's talk about it real quick. What? Sokka, my dude, I didn't realize you were getting down like that. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm not even joking. I saw that scene, I was instantly like, damn, he about to get it. But I'll stop, because they're like teenagers, I'll stop. But I'm just saying, they put in this show, it's not my fault. So, really quickly, even though this wasn't a main relationship, and it's not really a relationship that I ship or anything, but I'm just going to talk about it because it was in the show for a moment. Katara and Jet, rest in peace to Jet, because we all know he's dead, but like, that relationship is like, I just wanted to remind you that was a thing, and that like I heard it was confirmed by the creators that Jet and Katara off screen had a nice little kiss on the lips. So however you want to take that. Before I get into the really controversial shit, let's talk about this one. Zuko and May. Boy, like that. Okay, I'm sorry, but that ship wasn't it. I'm sorry, that wasn't it. And you know why? It's because like it happens in like episode 1 of season 3 before in like Bossing Say, or not Bossing Say, Omashu, like you see like Azula say to May like, oh, you want to see Zuko or something. I forget exactly what she says, but and like May goes I guess, you know, whatever. And I'm over here like, girl, wait. I'm like, I guess she's a crush with him, but then like to jump to season 3 and they're getting it on like full up on screen, I'm like, when did this happen? Like, I don't wait. Like, I'm not like, it's not like I don't think it couldn't happen, even though from what I hear, I haven't watched Legend of Korra, so like, don't talk to me about that show yet. But like, from what I hear, they're like, they got divorced or something in that show. I'm not quite sure, but like, that's what I heard, and I'm like, they did my man dirty. Like, it's just that like it happened off screen and I didn't feel nothing for it. It was just like, even though like at the end of the show I'm like, I guess I can, if that's what he wants, like, you know, that's what he wants, but like, why, how, when, why, I don't get it. Okay, and the one that everybody talks about, like, I remember when I like watched the show back in like when it was premiering on Nickelodeon, I didn't really know about this shit, but I knew enough about it to know that people hated the fact that Zutara didn't happen. And I was like, when I was that young, I was just like, I don't care. It's a show, like, get over it. But like now I can see like why. Because like there's moments where I'm just like, come on, you tell me they didn't feel nothing for each other. Like, I'm just saying, I'm a normie shipper. Like, if a show says these two characters are most likely gonna be together, I'ma ship that. Like, what am I gonna do? Not ship the main ship and be disappointed? No. I'm gonna ship the main ship. If the main ship is Katara and Aang, I'm gonna ship that shit because like, it was been alluded to since literally the first episode if you watch, and it has many moments throughout the entire show of them being like, or shit, baby, you're my forever girl shit. So like, I'm gonna ship that crap, but like, and especially because like, I hate to say it, but like when this show came out, I was like 10 or younger, and let me tell you, when I say the last scene in the last episode was my sexual awakening, like, I'm not even joking. Like, I saw that shit when I was a kid, and my heart just went like, whoa, I want that. But like, I can definitely see why like people are so pissed off that like they didn't even have like any type of feelings for each other. I guess maybe, I don't know. Like I said, personally, like, I ship both. I think they're both cute. Some say like, oh, since Aang and Katara was really motherly with him, it should have been more like that kind of thing. And especially since Katara and Zuko are similar age and they have more like built up moments, like the first season, the whole necklace thing and all that stuff, and the second season at the end where like they're sharing a moment, and then Zuko betrays her. People say like, oh, that should have been a redemption arc or whatever, but I'm like, I don't really care. That's why fan fiction exists. If I really wanted to see them be in a relationship, I would just go on fanfiction.net and read books. Like, I can see why people were pissed off about it, since like there's a lot of sexual tension there. You know, but you know, whatever. One last thing, I had to shout out this show, made in 2007, let me tell you. And this show, more progressive than I remember, because there are so many fucking badass bitches in the show. Like, hella badass bitches. Like, Katara, a badass bitch. Toph, a badass bitch. Suki, a badass bitch. As much as you may hate her, Azula, a badass bitch. May, a badass bitch. Ty Lee, a badass bitch. June, the girl with the sheer shoe, badass bitch. There's so many women in this show that just like insanely, like, they're just great. They're badass. They're so good. Like, I'm like, this show is progressive as fuck. Don't get me wrong, it's hella bad dudes in the show. Like, there's like moments that you're like, damn. But there's so many women in this show that were just so great that I didn't remember about being this bad. I was like, dude, progressive as hell. Like, we love progressive stories, you know what I mean? So I just had to say that really quickly because like I didn't remember all these people being such badasses. That's like all I have to say about this show. Like, this show is really great. If you have not seen it after you've heard me rant about it for this long, you need to get on that shit. It's on Netflix, like I said. Borrow your friend's passcode. But it's such a great show. So to like watch it after all these years and it still holds up is something else. Like, it's amazing. watch the show. Like, that's all I gotta say. Like, if you want to see a great show with great fighting, great characters, great plot, watch Avatar the Last Airbender. It's really good. That's all I have to say, really. I could talk about it for hours and hours and hours, but I'm gonna try to keep this short for the most part because I've already talked about it for about 40 minutes. Anyways, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want some more fandom videos, because like I've always wanted to make fandom videos like this, just talking about them, like just different shows that I like, or like different characters in different shows that I like. So if you like this video, just subscribe or like, and I'll know and I'll make some more. So I'll see you next video. Bye. But is like a Zula Ember Island playlist. I don't know how to speak anymore. So the ending, like the fights, the Kira. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
That's rough, buddy.
Girls love cookies.
Feel me?